Most people chase money as if gold itself grants power. But power does not follow wealth. Power commands wealth. In this video, we expose the fatal mistake that keeps ambitious men weak acquiring money before understanding the mechanics of domination, influence, and control. Before you seek fortune, you must first study the forces that bend others to your will. Wealth without power is a prison, a burden that others will exploit, manipulate, or strip away the moment you hesitate. But the individual who masters power first discovers that money becomes obedient, almost desperate to serve him. Tonight, we dissect the unseen mechanisms that rule human ambition, the psychological levers, the social deceptions, the strategic posture that separates those who command wealth from those who are consumed by it. Consider this your initiation into a truth the powerful never confess: money is a shadow. Power is the source that casts it. Power determines value long before money enters the room. You may believe wealth is the source of influence, but history teaches the opposite. The man who understands power shapes the worth of gold itself. Without that understanding, even a mountain of riches becomes fragile. So ask yourself, what is money in the hands of someone who cannot command fear, loyalty, or respect? Nothing more than a shiny burden waiting to be taken. Look at the rulers who left their mark on the world. They did not begin by chasing wealth. They began by mastering the currents of human behavior. Julius Caesar understood the value of perception before he ever controlled Rome's treasury. He learned to command men's devotion, to weaponize their ambitions, and to appear indispensable. Only then did money serve him, flowing toward him as naturally as rivers toward the sea. Ask yourself, what draws wealth to certain individuals? Is it luck, talent, or divine favor? No. It is the aura of power, an unspoken signal that warns others not to challenge them and encourages opportunities to gather around them. Money gravitates to power because power promises stability, direction, and dominance. The lion does not chase coins, the world simply delivers them, recognizing the danger of his hunger. Consider modern leaders who command industries. The most successful rarely begin with wealth. They begin with the ability to influence minds, shape narratives, and bend social landscapes. They create an environment where people depend on their vision, and dependence is the purest currency of power. Once you control what others hope for or fear losing, money becomes a predictable consequence rather than a desperate pursuit. Yet most people do the opposite. They chase money first, imagining it will protect them. But wealth acquired without understanding power invites predators. It signals inexperience. It smells like opportunity to those who are sharper, colder, and more strategic than you. Many inherit fortunes only to lose them because they never learn to stand as the center of gravity in their social world. Without power, money decays. So what is the true sequence? First, you must learn to read people with ruthless clarity. Study their motives. Detect their desperation. Recognize their weaknesses before they notice yours. When you can influence decisions without raising your voice, you have stepped into the territory of genuine power. Only then does money become a tool rather than a master, a resource to amplify your reach instead of exposing your vulnerability. History rewards those who construct power deliberately. Consider the Medici family. Their fortune did not make them powerful. Their power made their fortune inevitable. They controlled alliances, information, and perception long before their banking empire peaked. They understood that influence is the soil from which wealth grows. And once others depended on them, their wealth multiplied effortlessly. You must learn the same principle. Power is the architect, money the brick. But do you grasp what this means for you? It means that your first task is not to hustle harder, work longer, or accumulate faster. Your first task is to build an identity that others cannot ignore. An identity that radiates confidence, clarity, and controlled aggression. When people sense your strength, they offer opportunities you never had to chase. When they sense weakness, they offer traps. Power is the difference. Reflect on your own life. How many times have you seen someone with money crumble because they lacked the backbone to defend it? How many times have you watched a powerful personality attract wealth simply by existing in the right posture? This is not coincidence. This is hierarchy. The world bends to those who assert themselves with precision and poise. Wealth flows to those who understand the human animal. And so you must decide what path you will follow. Will you seek money first and hope it protects you? Or will you cultivate the presence that makes money kneel? The wise understand that the pursuit of power is the pursuit of freedom. Once you become a force others cannot ignore, wealth becomes unavoidable. But this is only the first truth. The next keynote will reveal why power without discipline becomes your greatest enemy. Prepare yourself for what comes next. It will test. Wealth without power creates a quiet kind of slavery. You may not see the chains at first, because they are wrapped in comfort, luxury, and false security. But make no mistake. Money gained before you understand strategy places you at the mercy of those who do. And the world is full of men who smile politely while calculating how to separate you from everything you own. Ask yourself a simple question. What good is wealth if it makes you dependent on sharper minds? If every decision you make must be approved, supported, or protected by someone stronger? That is not success. That is possession. You become an object to be used, a resource to be harvested, a vessel waiting to be emptied. Look through history at those who acquired riches before mastering power. They rarely kept their fortunes. Consider the tragic figure of Crassus. At one time, he was the richest man in Rome. Wealth piled so high it intimidated even his peers. But he lacked the strategic insight of Caesar, the psychological sharpness of Pompey, and the subtle manipulation needed to secure loyalty. Wealth alone inflated his ambition, but not his competence. His riches became a delusion of strength, leading him directly into a war he could not command. His money did not protect him. It destroyed him. This is the nature of wealth without power. It makes you bold without understanding, confident without calculation. You start believing the numbers in your account are proof of your capability. But capability is never measured in gold. It is measured in the discipline of your mind, the clarity of your vision, and your ability to control both yourself and others. Think of modern examples. Someone wins a large sum of money. For a moment, they feel invincible. They spend, they flaunt, they attract attention they are not prepared to manage. Suddenly, their circle changes. New friends appear, offering advice, opportunities, and seductive promises. These people are not drawn to the person. They are drawn to the weakness disguised as wealth. And soon enough, the fortune vanishes, siphoned away by manipulators who understand power better than the one who possessed the money. Why does this happen? Because wealth makes you visible. Power makes you untouchable. Without power, your wealth signals vulnerability. It announces to predators that you are ripe for the taking, and predators do not ignore easy prey. Power is what teaches you to detect lies behind smiles. It sharpens your intuition. It helps you recognize when someone's praise is merely bait. But without that understanding, you walk blindly into webs spun with your own desires. This is why dependency grows so quickly. A man with money but no strategy begins to outsource his thinking. He relies on advisors who may have their own agendas. He trusts those who appear competent simply because he feels inadequate next to them. Instead of commanding his resources, he waits for others to tell him what to do with them. And the moment you depend on another's guidance to protect your wealth, you have already lost it. Reflect on your own life. Have you ever noticed how people treat someone with money but no backbone? They flatter him, manipulate him, borrow from him, pressure him, guilt him. They know he can be controlled emotionally, socially, or intellectually. They sense the hunger for approval, the fear of conflict, the inability to say no. This is the dependency that grows when wealth arrives before strength. But the powerful do not allow themselves to become dependent. They move deliberately. They study people. They understand motives. They know how to create loyalty through fear, respect, or opportunity, whichever serves their aim. Their wealth, when it eventually comes, is protected not by chance but by the fortress of their character. So ask yourself again, if someone took everything from you tomorrow, would you still possess the mind that could rebuild it? If not, then you are not wealthy. You are merely holding wealth for someone else. Dependency is the silent enemy of ambition. And if you fail to understand it, you will serve those who do. But this is only one layer of the truth. In the next segment, we will confront something far colder: why alliances built on money crumble, and why power alone determines who survives when loyalty turns to dust. Alliances built on money are as unstable as sand under a shifting tide. They hold together only as long as the coin flows, only as long as the benefits outweigh the risks. But alliances built on power, those endure not because people love you, but because they fear the cost of betraying you. And in human affairs, fear is a stronger glue than affection. Ask yourself, who stands with you when the rewards dry up? Who remains when there is nothing to gain? If your alliances are purchased, not earned, then you already know the answer. Those people would sell you out for a better offer, a safer position, or a more profitable patron. Loyalty rented by money expires the moment someone else pays more. History is littered with powerful men who misunderstood this. Consider the fate of the Byzantine emperors who relied heavily on mercenaries. They bought loyalty with gold, hoping it would secure the empire's borders. Yet the moment a rival offered richer spoils, those same mercenaries switched sides. Their loyalty was transactional, temporary, and ultimately fatal. No empire can survive when its protectors are merely employees of convenience. But look at those who commanded loyalty by dominating the minds of their followers. Caesar's men did not fight for his wealth. They fought for his presence, his confidence, his strategic brilliance. They followed him into storms and deserts, into hopeless battles and impossible victories. Their loyalty was not purchased, it was forged. You cannot buy devotion like that. You can only inspire it through power. Now compare that to modern life. Imagine a business owner who surrounds himself with people attracted solely to the financial rewards he offers. They smile, nod, and flatter him as long as the company thrives. But once profits fall, or a competitor offers better incentives, the truth emerges. Their loyalty dissolves, their respect evaporates, their allegiance shifts with the wind. Meanwhile, a leader who inspires respect, fear, or genuine belief commands loyalty even in difficult times. People stay because they feel the weight of his presence. They sense his authority. They fear losing access to him or standing against him. He does not buy loyalty, he manufactures dependence. This is why you must understand the psychology behind alliances. People align themselves with whoever they believe can protect or elevate them. Money does not guarantee that perception, power does. And power is not simply strength. It is the ability to influence emotions, manage perceptions, and create expectations of victory. Think about the alliances in your own life. Who supports you because they respect your mind, your discipline, your clarity, and who stays because they hope to benefit from you? If you cannot tell the difference, you are already surrounded by shadows. The danger is subtle. A person who is loyal to your money behaves exactly like someone loyal to you, until the moment they are not, and by the time you notice the shift, it is often too late. Betrayal is rarely loud at the beginning. It starts with hesitation, quiet secrecy, delayed responses, and small acts of self-preservation disguised as practical decisions. But alliances built on power behave differently. They are held together not by generosity, but by consequence. They survive because the cost of betrayal is high, the rewards of loyalty are meaningful, and the authority you project forces others into alignment. When people fear disappointing you more than they desire a rival's offer, your alliances become unbreakable. Ask yourself, do people follow you because they must, or because they choose? The truth lies in what they fear losing. If they fear losing your approval, your protection, your insight, or your presence, then your alliances are strong. If they fear losing only money, you have built a house made of paper. Human nature has not changed. People follow strength. They abandon weakness. And money, without power behind it, is a form of weakness disguised as success. But this is only the beginning. In the next keynote, you will confront a deeper truth, one that determines whether you manipulate others or become their prey. Prepare yourself, Because what comes next reveals the psychology that governs every human interaction you have ever misjudged. Human nature is the battlefield where every victory or defeat begins. Before you acquire wealth, before you attempt influence, before you step into any arena of ambition, you must first understand the creatures you are dealing with. Not their pretty masks, but their drives, their insecurities, their hungers. Because money is lost not through miscalculation, but through misunderstanding people. Ask yourself, how many times have you trusted someone simply because they sounded sincere? How many times have you taken words at face value, believing emotion equals truth? This is the first mistake of the untrained mind. People say what protects them. They reveal what benefits them, and they hide what gives them leverage. You cannot expect honesty from anyone who has something to gain by deceiving you. History teaches this lesson with brutal clarity. Consider the fall of the Sforza family in Milan. They controlled wealth, armies, and influence, but they failed to understand the shifting ambitions within their own court. They trusted flattery, mistook loyalty for affection, and ignored the envy growing in their shadows. Human nature betrayed them long before their enemies did. Their downfall was not the result of superior strategy from opponents. It was their blindness to the psychology of the people surrounding them. This blindness is common. People want to believe that others are rational, transparent, consistent. But human nature is none of these things. It is emotional, unpredictable, and easily manipulated. It is shaped by fear, greed, resentment, pride, and the desire for significance. And if you do not understand these impulses, you become their victim. Think of the everyday manipulations you witness. The colleague who pretends to admire you while quietly undermining you. The friend who praises your success but grows distant when you surpass them. The partner who claims to want your growth but subtly discourages it to preserve control. None of this is accidental. These are expressions of human nature, raw and unfiltered. You must learn to see beyond the surface. When someone praises you excessively, ask what they want. When someone acts humble, ask what they fear. When someone becomes angry, ask what desire is being blocked. Every emotion is a signal. Every action is a strategy, even if unconscious. People reveal everything when you learn how to interpret them. This is why understanding human nature is more valuable than money. Wealth without psychological insight is a magnet for exploitation. It draws in those who study your vulnerabilities better than you study theirs. You become predictable, and predictability is fatal. Look at the great rulers who succeeded. They mastered human nature with precision. They knew when to reward, when to frighten, when to appear generous, when to remain silent. They understood that people follow strength not because they admire it, but because it satisfies their needs, security, identity, survival. And they exploited these needs with surgical accuracy. You must cultivate the same understanding. Study people not as friends or enemies, but as systems of desire. Notice what excites them. Notice what frightens them. Notice who they envy, who they imitate, who they despise. These patterns reveal more about them than their words ever will. Ask yourself, why does someone help you? Is it loyalty? Or is it because helping you benefits them? Why does someone resist you? Is it your idea they oppose? Or the threat of you gaining more power than they possess? If you cannot answer these questions, you are navigating the world blindfolded. To build power, you must predict behavior. To predict behavior, you must understand the instincts that shape it, and once you understand those instincts, you can manipulate them, gently when needed, ruthlessly when required. This is not cruelty. It is strategy. It is self-preservation in a world where people act out of their own interests long before they consider yours. The truth is simple. He who does not understand human nature will always be betrayed by it. And he who masters it gains an advantage that cannot be bought, borrowed, or stolen. But this mastery leads to a new question, one far more dangerous. Once you know how people think, how do you control what they perceive about you? Perception is the battlefield where power is won long before a single command is given. You may believe your intelligence, your discipline, or your strategy is what elevates you, But none of that matters if others do not see you as powerful. In human affairs, the story others tell themselves about you is more influential than the truth you carry inside. And if you do not shape that story deliberately, someone else will shape it for you. Ask yourself, how much control do you truly have over the way others interpret your presence? Do they see you as a threat, an asset, a leader, or something forgettable? The world does not treat you according to who you are. It treats you according to what you appear to be. This is why those who master perception command resources effortlessly, while those who cling to sincerity often starve in silence. History reveals this with painful clarity. Consider the rise of Octavian, the young heir of Julius Caesar. In truth, he was physically weak, inexperienced, and surrounded by stronger rivals. Yet he understood one thing: they did not power is a performance. He presented himself as disciplined, pious, and destined for leadership. He cultivated calmness, emphasized legitimacy, and allowed others to underestimate his sharpness. By the time his enemies realized the truth, he already controlled the Senate, the legions, and the narrative of Rome. His victory was not born from strength. It was born from perception disciplined into a weapon. The same principle rules your modern world. A leader who appears confident is trusted more than one who actually possesses competence. A speaker who appears knowledgeable is believed even when their ideas are hollow. A manipulator who appears harmless gains access to rooms a blatant predator never could. Image creates openings that ability alone cannot. This is why the powerful guard their image as carefully as their wealth. They know perception shapes permission. It determines who can speak, who must listen, who may act, and who must hesitate. If you appear uncertain, opportunists circle you. If you appear strong, opportunities circle instead. Every interaction is an evaluation, and every evaluation is influenced by the scene you present. Think of social situations you've experienced. Perhaps you've watched someone less competent take the lead simply because they projected confidence while you hesitated. Perhaps you've seen someone with average skill gain loyalty because they embodied calm authority. Or maybe you've witnessed someone collapse under pressure. Not because they lacked ability, but because others perceived their weakness and abandoned them. The lesson is simple: people do not follow truth. They follow impressions. So how do you shape perception strategically? By mastering the subtle art of presenting what others fear losing or desire gaining. When you project composure under pressure, people perceive strength. When you speak less than you observe, they perceive depth. When you choose your alliances carefully, they perceive value. And when you act with calculated decisiveness, they perceive inevitability. But shaping perception is not about pretending or lying. It is about tightening the discipline of your behavior until the outside world mirrors the power you cultivate within. Your posture, your silence, your timing, your emotional restraint, these are tools sharper than any weapon. People judge you within seconds, and once formed, their perception becomes the lens through which every future action is interpreted. This means a single display of weakness can undo months of effort. It also means a single display of strength can elevate your standing instantly. Ask yourself, what image do you project in moments of conflict? Do you reveal frustration, or do you maintain calculated stillness? What do people feel when you enter a room? Tension, curiosity, respect, indifference. These reactions are not accidents. They are the result of cues you've been giving without noticing. Psychology teaches that humans are wired to respond to authority signals: eye contact, tone, certainty, boundaries, and emotional control. When you master these signals, others instinctively categorize you as someone to listen to, someone to follow, someone to avoid challenging. And once people believe you possess power, they behave in ways that grant you even more. This is why controlling perception must come before controlling money. Wealth amplifies your image, but it cannot repair a weak one. Money without presence draws exploitation. Money backed by presence draws fear and respect. But now you must face a harsher truth. Once you shape perception, can you protect the wealth that perception attracts? Power secures your wealth, and your wealth reveals your power. This truth is as old as empires and as relevant as the device in your hand. Once you acquire money, the world will finally show you how it truly sees you. People who never looked twice will suddenly smile. Those who envied you will disguise it as admiration. And those who once ignored you will now study your movements carefully. Wealth exposes the hierarchy you occupy in the minds of others. But here is the danger: if you gained money before mastering power, that revelation will break you instead of elevate you. Ask yourself what happens when a man with no backbone suddenly becomes rich. Does the world show him respect? No. It shows him appetite. He becomes a banquet for hungrier, sharper minds. Instead of commanding others, he becomes easier to manipulate than ever. Money only magnifies the weaknesses he failed to conquer. History presents countless warnings. Consider the story of Darius Athu, the Persian king whose empire overflowed with wealth, but lacked the spine and strategic will that power demands. Alexander did not defeat Persia because Macedon was richer. He defeated it because Persia was soft, complacent, and led by a man who mistook possession of treasure for possession of strength. Darius fled when he should have fought, negotiated when he should have commanded, and pleaded when he should have punished. His wealth revealed a truth his enemies already suspected. He was a king by inheritance, not by dominance. Your modern world mirrors this pattern every day. Look at celebrities who crash into ruin, not because they lacked money, but because they lacked the discipline to manage the pressure money brought. Look at the heirs of wealthy families who crumble under the weight of scrutiny, unable to defend themselves from addiction, manipulation, or exploitation. Their downfall is not financial, it is psychological. Their wealth exposed their fragility. Now ask yourself, if wealth were dropped into your hands tomorrow, what would it reveal about you? Would it magnify your strength or expose your insecurities? Would you command more opportunities or attract more predators? Would people fear disappointing you or sense they can easily use you? This is the real lesson. Money is a mirror. It reflects your true power or your lack of it. Power secures wealth because powerful individuals understand how to protect themselves. They know how to draw boundaries that others do not dare cross. They know when to appear generous and when to withhold. They know how to intimidate without raising a voice, how to inspire loyalty without promising too much, and how to eliminate threats before those threats realize they've been noticed. Their money becomes a fortress, not a target. But more importantly, powerful individuals use wealth as an extension of their influence. They invest in alliances, not friendships. They reward strategic loyalty, not emotional comfort. They create debts that others feel obligated to repay. Their wealth becomes a network of invisible strings, each one tied to someone who will think twice before acting against them. This is the essence of Machiavellian strategy. Wealth is not simply possessed. It is weaponized. Look at the Medici. Their fortune did not merely buy them influence, it allowed them to place popes, direct wars, and decide which families rose or fell. Their wealth revealed their power because it was used with precision, not indulgence. It was never uncontrolled, never emotional, never unguarded. Their money obeyed them because their minds commanded it. You must aim for the same. When wealth comes, it should amplify your power, not expose your vulnerabilities. It should deepen your authority, not invite manipulation. It should allow you to shape outcomes, not merely survive them. Reflect deeply. Do you have the psychological strength to protect what you earn? Do you have the foresight to anticipate betrayal? Do you have the composure to remain unreadable when others test your boundaries? If not, wealth will not save you. It will undo you. This is why power must come first. Because once you understand power, wealth becomes a tool. Without power, wealth becomes a weapon wielded against you. And now, a sharper question arises, one that cuts deeper than the rest. Once you have built wealth upon power, how do you ensure that power does not corrupt you, blind you, or turn you into the very weakness you once despised? That answer is the beginning of another, far darker lesson. You now understand the quiet truth: power isn't taken by force. It's taken by influence unnoticed, pressure unspoken, and direction disguised as freedom. The strongest rulers in history didn't shout commands. They whispered suggestions. They made others believe the path was their own, and by the time the crowd realized who shaped their decisions, it was already too late to resist. This is the art you must master. Not brute domination, but the subtle architecture of perception. The ability to guide a mind without ever revealing your hand. So ask yourself, who controls your thoughts? And more importantly, whose thoughts will you control next? If this lesson struck you, leave a comment below. Tell me which part revealed something you weren't expecting. Subscribe if you want more strategies forged in the cold chambers of real power, because this world doesn't reward the loud, it rewards the unseen. And share this video, not for kindness, but because influence grows fastest through the hands of others.